Welcome to the Spa Girls podcast. Each week we bring you the very best of self-publishing tips, tools and resources for authors. I'm Shah Barrett.
I'm Cheryl Phipps.
I'm Wendy Vale.
And I'm Trudy J. Welcome to the spa, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome.
This week we have an awesome guest. I'm super excited to talk to her. It's Vanessa Vale.
Hey,
Hello,
Vanessa.
Hi, Vanessa.
Hi.
Vanessa is the one in charge of the awesome Facebook group Thrifty Tips for Authors, which, I mean, who doesn't want thrifty tips
Yeah.
for a start,
Exactly.
like starting right there.
Mm.
I'm going to read your bio, Vanessa, and then we're going to get right into it because you've also got a course coming out, which sounds awesome. And I'm sure we're going to get loads and loads of tips from you. So, yay.
Yay, we all need them.
So, but first, the bio. USA Today bestseller. Oh, Vanessa, sorry, I'm going to start again with that. A USA Today bestseller with more than 80 books and translated into multiple languages, Vanessa Vale writes tempting romance with unapologetic bad boys who don't just fall in love, they fall hard. Her books have sold over 1 million copies. She lives in the American West, where she's always finding inspiration for her next story. While she's not as skilled at social media as her kids, she loves to interact with readers. It's lovely. I'm
Nice.
sorry that I keep
Welcome.
tripping over it, but
Welcome, Vanessa.
You did great, thank you.
so Vanessa, let's start at the beginning. Well, first of all, I have to say I love the sound of your heroes, and we're going to talk about that in later because I have questions, because that sounds awesome. That's immediately, as a reader, triggered me like, oh my god, these heroes sound awesome, like
Yeah,
just
do.
without even doing anything. So I can see why you are so good at marketing, because you're just getting it in intrinsic or right in
one liner
in the bio, right? Yeah. So that was awesome. So yeah, go you. But let's start at the beginning. And can you tell us a little bit about how you got into writing and self-publishing? Let's start there.
Well, I started writing on a dare from a work colleague, and I mentioned, I think in passing, that I like to read romance, and then he suggested it can't be that hard, and I said, yeah, how hard can it be to write romance? And then we both decided that we should write a romance to see how hard it would be. And I don't usually do anything half-heartly, and so I actually joined the local romance writers group at that time. And amazingly enough, my very first meeting, which was over 20 years ago, had Julia Quinn as the speaker.
Oh,
I know. So, and she talked about dialogue. I remember this vividly. And obviously you guys all know, and everyone probably in the world now knows, that her dialogue is so amazing. So I had a great class to start with. And then I was put into a great critique group of ladies from that meeting, and then we just went from there. This was a long time ago, so it was back before Amazon or any kind of self-publishing. And then it took years and years, and then finally I put some books up. So back in 2015, Vanessa Vale was born, and there we go.
Wow.
It sounds like a superhero name, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It sounds like you should be
Vanessa Vale.
Vicky Vale's sister.
Did the person you have the bet with do the book as well? Did he
Yes.
write his book? You know.
I don't know. That's a good question. I would have said no. I think he figured out how hard it really was to write one,
Just
and then just gave up, because
Yeah.
it certainly isn't easy. And I learned that too the hard way.
Yeah. That's all right. I mean, I bet he regrets not doing it now that he can see you with your 80 books and your
Yeah.
Well, I will say my first book, and I've shared this story, is that my first book had the heroine kidnapped 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
That happens.
I mean, really
So
unluckily.
clearly I had that trope down maybe one too many times.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Do you still have that book up? Can we go buy?
Oh no. I should put it up. I should offer it to everybody as a see what happens, see where you can go come from.
Yeah, the start to the finish. Perfect.
Oh, that's awesome.
Before and after.
And so you've been self-publishing since Vanessa Vale has been self-publishing since 2015. So are all your 80 books under that one pen name, or you've got other secret pen names? Okay, so Vanessa Vale.
They are. They're all under that name, and they have been up until recently predominantly cowboys, either historical or contemporary. Yeah. So but mostly small town. And lately I've sort of literally just taken the hat off of my heroes and cowboy hat off. And so now it's pretty much small town
Okay.
without the cowboy hat.
Ah, interesting. Okay. And do you find that a big difference between the cowboys and the non-cowboys? Is it
I think from a reader's perspective, there are some readers who don't want to read a cowboy story. However, they're willing to read a small town romance set in the West with a hero who lives on a ranch that doesn't wear a cowboy hat.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a distinction, clearly.
There is a very clear distinction. And I think that taking off the cowboy hat makes my stories pretty much identical, except it shifts my reader base slightly, or it enlarges it.
yeah.
And you've
How
definitely
fascinating.
noticed that it has grown.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow,
And
isn't
did
it?
you
By
have-
taking a head off.
Yeah. Did you have any pushback? Did you have any readers come to you and say, hang on?
Yeah.
No.
No,
Brilliant.
because it was just a slight shift. I didn't move to say like New York City or something. I stuck with kind of like that salsa commercial where they talk about New York City. You know, you guys are all from New Zealand and that's funny.
It's
okay. Anyway, I just literally took off the hat.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
that's
brilliant.
Yeah.
hilarious. And do you so you're in your bio, you say unapologetic bad boys who don't just fall in love, they fall hard, which as I said, I'm immediately going, oh
Very
my
cool
God,
line.
they sound awesome.
Yeah.
Is that literally every book that you don't have any betas, heroes, or, you know, that they're these strong alpha guys who fall hard? Would that?
That's a good question. In comparison to a lot of alpha heroes out there, I think there's now a new scale. And so mine are very alpha. They're not overly dominant in comparison to others these days.
Yeah.
I am personally, as a reader, I love insta love stories. But I think as a reader, I also want to jump into romance where I know that the hero wants the heroine.
Yeah.
Because I think as women, that would be really great if it was, you know, you go out and meet a man and you instantly know that he is like into you and, you know, all the things that you were looking for instead of playing any games or whatever. So when we're reading fantasy, I'm not talking about fantasy books, but the fantasy of reading fiction, that's what I think crave in a story. At least I do.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Right. So I
100%.
want a guy to sweep me off my feet, to be a little bossy, but also let me be my own woman. And then, you know, all the things that I want in a fictional romance hero.
Yeah. No, I think that's awesome.
That's so
I
true.
do.
All of it.
I do. And there's a distinct difference. Like you think about that idea of the hero falling in love straight away, like him being the one that he knows straight away, versus where they're like, oh, I'm not sure, and there's like, you know, all the roadblocks and they don't know. I definitely think there's a preference for that, like
right. And
that guy
there's
just
actually like a
knows.
hashtag and a trope called "He Falls First." And so I have. It's not like it's a new thing, but I think hashtag wise, it's kind of new, where it's more than insta love. It's different because he falls first in that he sees her, wants her, loves her. I think insta love stories come across as almost obsessive. And that's great because those stories are fun too to read. I can think of lots of authors who write those and you're like, gimme. But He Falls First, I think, has a bigger story arc in that he falls for her, but there's a lot of conflicts and challenges to work through as a person and as a couple.
Yeah.
Like
that's
that.
cool. I like that. And so you started the Thrifty Tips Facebook group. Can you tell us a story of how that came about, like where it came from, why you started it?
The Thrifty Tips group started in January of 2 years ago, so 2021. So we're at the beginning of the year. So it's been a little over 2 years now. And I was sharing tips with close author friends about how I do my author brand strategy, because I don't spend any income on ads or promotions. Back in the day, my Facebook ad account was shut down and they wouldn't give it back. And so I was forced to find ways to promote my books outside of paid ads. Of course, there was Amazon ads and I tried them. I dabbled in them, but I never really saw any results because I'm a wide author. And because wide books are weighted differently than Kindle Unlimited books on Amazon, the visibility is different. And so it is a struggle using Amazon ads to even get the visibility with those. And I just personally am spendthrift. I'm a spendthrift. I'm not sure what the right word would be. Thrifty. I just don't like to spend money where I don't have tangible gain with them. And Amazon ads, I just didn't find it, and I just didn't continue with them at all. So I was limited to what I could come up with through grassroots ways, such as emails, word of mouth, sharing with other authors, and so on. And so these tips I found, my friends found beneficial. And so I started the group. I thought maybe like 30 of my friends would join, and I would share a tip here or there. And that wasn't the case.
Wow.
I think you've got
That's
something
awesome.
like 2,500 in the group now. Is that right?
Something like that, yes.
Wow.
I'm impressed you've got 2,500 author friends.
I know, I'm so popular. If anyone knows me, then they would be laughing at that statement, because I am if there's a picture of an introvert in the dictionary, my photo is next to it.
No.
Most writers are like that, aren't they?
Yeah, I think a lot of writers. So that's cool. So you've been doing that for 3 years, and then you've set up the course as well. Is that coming out soon? So we can talk quickly about that.
Right, the course is brand new. I have been working on it for a few months, taking the information that I've shared in the class, but also at pretty much everything that I do, and I sort of merged it and formed it into a class to share with others. Everything in it does not cost money, low or no cost things. So when you go through the class, you'll see by the time you get to the end that there was nothing in there that cost money. Or yes, there's nothing in there that I expect anyone to spend money on. There can be add-ons such as Facebook ads or other things like that that you want to add on, but the things I'm teaching don't require it. There are a few nominal things that you need to have regardless of whether you used my tips or not, such as a website. And things like that you have to pay for regardless. But I'm not suggesting in my class anything that costs money.
Yeah.
So if we could get if we talk about some of the things that you have done or are doing that are the kind of free or not free stuff, where did you start? Like, did you kind of go, oh no, I'm going to work on my newsletter, or was it more broad than that? Like, how did you go from no Facebook ads to where you are now?
Right. It's a good question. There's a little bit of everything. So if you think of, in the class, I talk about it as like a house. And I use the analogy of the Three Little Pigs, the story of the Three Little Pigs, with the straw house and then the wood house and the brick house. Well, I simplify the story down to just straw house and the brick house. And that if you're an author and you rely on marketing and promotional things that do not belong to you, if they're taken away, or there is some crazy storm in the author land, will your house get blown down? And if it does, will you be left with anything? If you have a house of brick, of solid marketing and strategies and bricks, and you build all of those up, then you have a house of brick. And then if there's a crazy whim, so for example, Facebook shuts down, TikTok shuts down, or something like that, or you lose your ad account, or something we can't even imagine yet. If that occurs, can you withstand that shift in author land or reader land that you can continue on?
Yeah. So it's kind of like that stable foundation, if you like. So if the wind can come, maybe knock a couple of bricks off, but it's still, you can still live in the house.
Right. Because your Facebook ads or any other ads that you pay for don't belong to you. They're not yours. You're just giving them money to put up these ads in the hopes that they will bring in readers and you'll make money off of them. However, they don't have any guarantee that it's going to happen. And so you're putting out money there that you can't guarantee the returns. And also you can't guarantee that they won't take the whole system away.
Yeah.
So I'm not knocking Facebook ads. I just use it as an example because it works amazingly well for so many people. It's a great tool. So I'm sharing that very clearly. It's an exceptional tool. However, it's not the only tool. And if it was taken away, I think many authors can say that, oh yeah, they shut my account down for a day or a week or 3 months, or I've never gotten it back. Then if that happens, then that tool is gone. And so if you don't have anything else besides that in its place that belongs to you, then you could take a ding in your marketing or in your author career in general, or in your finances. That could be a struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I'm an author, and maybe I'm even a newish author, and I'm think that's an amazing concept that you're talking about. Where do I start if I'm like I have to create this amazing solid brick house foundation? What do I do?
Well, okay, so make sure you circle back to answer this question, because it goes in multiple prongs, in multiple directions. So like you said, there's lots of bricks. So one of them, of course, is to write more books.
Yeah.
So if you think about your first, if you write a book, one book, right? Technically, and sadly, I'm sorry, this is the sad moment of your podcast, that one book is a dead end for readers.
Yeah.
So think of it as like a train track, and you're going on the train track, and then you hit the end where it has that little sign that says end of line, and it just has that big stop thing. Well, you're going on your track, and then you have one book, and your readers gobbled up like, oh, I love this. I love her. This book is amazing. Well, they can't continue down the track of your books, because why? You only have one. And as we all know, that readers are ridiculously fickle. And they're like, oh, she wrote an amazing small town romance book with alpha heroes. I loved it, but she has no more. Fine, I'm going to go find someone else who does that. And I'm not saying that I'm competing with someone else who's writing those books, but they're going to go to somebody else until I deliver another book.
Yeah.
So it's important to keep on writing. The more books you have, the better, the more readers will gobble up your books, the more money you will make, the more backlist you have. And that's a different and huge brick in my class about how to earn large amount of income from your backlist. So one, I would say, keep writing. Second, I would say, yes, things like a newsletter and other tools that belong to you, keep growing them. So to grow your newsletter list. Now, remember, I'm sorry, I have an itch in my back. So those who are watching, scratch. Your newsletter list is one thing you own. People will sign up intentionally and purposefully for you. And so whether whether they read your book and they loved it and they want to have an email from you to know more, or you give them a reader magnet or some other lure to draw them in, they're choosing you. So they voluntarily signed up for your list and are there, and they are your readers. They are the ones that purposefully picked you. So keep them. And so the more that grows, that means you have more people who purposefully signed up for you, whether it's organic or inorganic. So growing that list is really crucial. So using free tools to grow your newsletter list are really important. They range from anything from the obvious newsletter swap, which everyone rolls their eyes at these days, but it is a great tool, to round robins, author book clubs, even posting and sharing on social media. The list goes on and on of ways to grow that list. So the more you have that list grown, the better. And then within of that, some of those suggestions included working with other authors. And so networking with other authors is, in my opinion, the best way to grow your visibility, grow your friendships and bond with other authors, and grow your networking abilities to be included in other things. So maybe I'm not doing a round robin, but I just met the four of you. And now, of course, you're going to think of me when you have some kind of small town alpha male group promo, and I can be a part of it. And so that kind of networking is a great way to grow. So these little bricks I've just mentioned are all free, but when they start to build together, you start to go and grow a community, you grow readership that belongs to you, and you grow a backlist that you can use and work with.
It's quite, how do you reach out to other authors? I mean, how do you find those authors that are sort of at your level, or do you go for that little step up and go and reach out to them? I mean, that's probably my thing I hate most of all to do.
It is a tough one.
As all of these girls will go, yes, she does. But it's like, I'm never sure who to reach out to. What's your
Right.
suggestions there?
So your question is in reference to networking.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. So I make sure, because I
Yeah,
want to
no,
make
no,
sure
sorry, I should have clarified.
So,
Yeah.
One thing to consider is being a reader yourself. So I read, for example, I read Mary's book and I loved it.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I am now a fan of Mary. So I write to Mary and say, I just wanted to let you know, I really enjoyed your book.
Okay.
Because it's completely true. You are a reader fan. You enjoyed the book. I sat on a plane, and next to me, a woman was reading another cowboy author that I knew of. I never met her, but I was like, oh, I wanted to I wanted to say something, but I was like, no, don't read her book. Read my book next. She was reading an author that I knew of, and I sent her a note. In Facebook, I went to Messenger, or you could go to their email and just find their email on their website or something. But I just said, I just wanted you to know, I know you don't really even know me, but I wanted you to know I was on a plane last night and I sat next to a woman who was reading your book.
Brilliant.
Complete truth. And it was. And if someone sent that to me and told me someone was reading my book next to them on an airplane, I would be so excited.
Yeah.
I mean, just be wonderful. Also, another thing is that if you know someone who's in a group with you as an author group, but you're not really close with them, and you see that they've got a new release coming out, or you see come up on Facebook, share it.
Yeah.
My friend Mary's got a new release. Here's all the information. She posted it, so you could reshare or share now or whatever the button is on Facebook. Share it. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not brown nosing, but technically you are. But there's nothing wrong with it. One click takes all of maybe 20 seconds to share that. That author will appreciate it and remember you, and you've done absolutely nothing with expectation in return.
Yeah.
But those little things all over the place, you grow subtle. You become the nice author. There's nothing wrong, and you don't have to be an extrovert to do that, because you just push the button. And then maybe in Facebook groups where it's an author forward Facebook group, so it's author industry group, not really for readers as much. Comment on someone's post, or they're asking about a newsletter, just say, oh yes, I did this, and just offering something relevant so that you become familiar, your name becomes familiar.
Yeah. Put yourself out there a bit,
Right. And it's not really in an extroverted way. You're just commenting on things so that you become present in their lives.
Yeah. Makes sense.
That's awesome. I like that idea of I like the idea of kind of building up your reputation over time. Like, I think sometimes because we want everything fast and now, we kind of want to go, it's sort of like people want you to just say, oh, there's this one trick that you'll be able to do, and suddenly you
everything
can
will
network
change.
with everyone.
Right.
But actually,
I know. I am also in next to the dictionary is me under impatience, because I have none whatsoever. And I have two grown boys. So you would think I would have it by now, but I don't. I have no patience. But I will say that writing is a marathon and not a sprint. And if you're a wide author, especially, it's definitely more of a marathon, because you're reaching different audiences in different ways, and it is a slower grow. I find that I am not a new release author. I'm a backlist author. And I talk about that concept in my class, because it's really important that I'm not trying to find value in my new release as much as growing my backlist.
Yeah. Actually, can we talk about that? Yeah. Can we talk about that quickly? Because I jumped over the whole writing stuff and went straight to the marketing, but I actually do want to quickly. So you've got 80 books out, and that's happened presumably since 2015 to now.
Yes.
Like, how many books are you writing a year? How many do you put out a year? How many series do you have? Like, is it all
right? You said there was no math involved. Now,
now you put her on the spot.
So over 8 years with 80 books, I'll say I averaged about 10 books a year. So I was starting off at maybe more than that, and then I think 2 years ago I did 9. Last year I think I did 9 or 8, and I think this year I'm planning on 7.
How many words are they? Are they big books, or
they are? They were consistently 35,000 to 40,000 words.
Okay.
Yeah.
I talk about, from an author perspective, the value of word count. and how much you can earn for your word counts, and making sure you find the sweet spot on that. However, lately I've been writing longer books because I'm trying to tap into the longer reader market. I mean, the reader, in the sense the readers don't want to, I don't want to hit the short story market. I want to hit people who are looking for a little bit longer book, not the really great long ones, but to the middle of the road.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to answer your question, I average about 8 or 9 books a year. And then my series, I think, oh gosh, that's the tricky one. I have to switch screens on my computer, but I'm going to say 10 or more. I have a large number of series.
Okay. All right.
Do you do the freebie, go down the freebie route at all? Do you have free books?
I always have one
Yep.
first in series free book, and only one, with an asterisk of right this moment, because at this moment I have 2 because one hasn't been turned off. But I always have one going, and only one, because I don't want to give too many books away. It's always a first in series, and I always rotate it when they go stale, which could be anywhere from 6 to 9 months or so, depending. And then I switch it to a different series. The reason why I alternate is because, as I mentioned, I have some that are historical and some are contemporary. And not every reader wants or loves all of my series. So let's say I have a reader who's not interested in historical. They're never going to buy my historical books. It's just not for them, and that's okay. But if I put a first in series free in my one of my historical series, I'm not going to hit everyone with that. But if I turn that one off and switch it to a contemporary one, I might grab a different reader because they're eager to find my contemporary stories. So I rotate around, I alternate it, because I don't have the expectation that every single reader will love every single one of my series.
So how do you let them know that you switched it up, or excuse me, that you have a free book up, if you're not advertising? Because you're going to send it to your newsletter, obviously. You're probably going to put it on your Facebook page or social media pages that you do have.
Right.
Do you advertise in any other way, or is it just through newsletter swaps?
Right, that's a great question. Now, but I'm going to, on the end there, you add newsletter swaps. So I don't do newsletter swaps.
Right.
No, I mean, like, I actually don't do them. You're all like looking funny, because like if Mary personally asked me to do a swap and I felt her book was a good fit for mine, I would do one. Right. I'm a wide author, so I 99% of the time do not do any kind of newsletter swaps with Kindle Unlimited books. Because a swap means that there is a value to each person. And to me, sharing my Kindle Unlimited book with my mailing list is a value to that author, but in return, it's not. Kindle Unlimited readers are freebie seekers. They've already paid their money, their monthly fee, and they want their books for, air quotes, free, in that they've already paid for their subscription. So there's some that may, but most of them will not buy my book. So I don't do that. I do round robins and things like that, where there is a swap, but that swap is in a controlled environment where I have chosen the other authors, and I'm part of a select group. So I am using them as much as they're using me for my readership, and I'm using them for theirs. So I want to make that really clear, because I think there's a big thing right now about ho-hum newsletter swaps as the only free option. But I'm going to go back to your original question about how do I promote my free book. I do share it with my newsletter. I do post it on social media. And the one thing that I do that does cost money for a free book is I try to get a BookBub feature deal. And because they are great for wide books. They have a wide readership in their mailing list, and it goes in front of, depending on your category, up to and over 1 million people. So while they are expensive, they are actually remarkably cheap. So I'm pulling out my calculator, and I'm going to say that the erotic romance list, I know it has over 1 million emails, but I'm just going to say 1 million. And I'm going to divide it by the $792 it cost me. I did it backwards. I have to do 792 divided by 1 million. Sorry. I told you there should be no math. That is 0.00030 379. So it's 0.0008 cents per email. So if you think about it that way,
Yeah.
it's not that expensive. Obviously, not all 1 million plus people are going to open the email or select your book. And you know how many do select it because it's a free book and you can find out on all of your retailers. And then you can follow the read through from there on the sales of the other books in the series, which is what we all want.
Yes.
But if you think about it, we can never guarantee how much those ads cost. So like a Facebook ad or something, it's like 12 cents, 20 cents, 15, 7 cents, whatever it is, a click. Well, this is 0.00008, 3 zeros and an 8. So that is the one thing I do spend money on for my brand new perma-free title, if I can get one.
Yeah. Well, that's the big thing, isn't it?
Do you get them quite often? Is that something that happens regularly, would you say?
Getting one? I have been successful in them. I do try to submit to as many categories as my book would fit in as possible. So if my book fits in, they love to put me in erotic romance, which is accurate, and I'm content with those readers. But if it also works in contemporary romance or even dark romance, which isn't a great, because my books are not dark, but they're not as erotic either. So, there's a couple categories my books could fit into. And so I want to make sure I try for all of them.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I reckon.
And so how many books would you have in a series? And because you've got so many series, but you've also got a lot of books.
Right.
So are we averaging out about 8 books a series, something like that?
Oh, no. So my shortest one is 2, because those books I loved and I wanted to write, but they weren't as well received with my readers. So I stopped at 2 because I was like, we're just going to move on, because they weren't cutting it financially. Even though I enjoyed the stories, I had to walk away from it for financial strategy standpoint. I needed to move on to something that was going to be a better fit for my readers. And then I have quite a number that have 3 books. I have several that have 4. I think I have 1 or 2 that have 5, 1 or 2 that have 6. And then I do have one that has 11 or 12.
Right.
And presumably that's the best selling, like the series that does the best because you keep going in it, or?
That's a great question. That was my oldest series. That's the Bridgewater historical series. And so it was my oldest. So back in the day, in 2015, when I wrote those, they were successful, and I kept writing them because they were continuing to be well received. I did stop them because I got more tired of them than my readers and needed to say something different. However, I did go back a couple years later and write 3 more to that series because I felt like going back, and it was still well received. However, I do track my math on my books to know what series are successful based off of actual income. And the second book in that series is my _1 best-selling book. One, because it's the oldest, right? Because it was written in 2015. So it's had 8 years of time to accrue. But it was probably is 8 years. And also because it's the beginning of a long series. It's possible some readers love to read through long series because they love that world.
Yeah.
So can I just touch on your release strategy a little bit? Sort of, how soon out do you start promoting it, and what do you do for your release? Do you rapid release? Do you write a few and then release them, or what's your strategy?
I definitely don't do that because I'm a pantser, so I have no idea what my books are doing as I'm writing them. And so I can't do several at once or have a pile of them because I just can't have that many stories in my head. I publish this year about every 2 months. And so what I do plan is when I'm starting a new series is I'm planning that world. I always plan for 3 books.
Yeah.
I commit personally in my head to 3 books, except for that one I did 2 because that one didn't do well at all. And so that one had to be shut down. But I commit to 3 books. And then if it does well, it's well received and I'm inspired by the series, I will write more. My goal would be to write 6 books. So I have 3 and 3.
Yeah.
However, if it peters out, I will stop shorter. So that's part of my strategy. So then I know that I'm doing at least 3 books. I usually try to write to tropes or themes that are hot right now. So I'm a big reader. I read lots and lots of books, of romance books specifically. And so I am gobbling up different genres in romance and what's hot right now. Now, an example would be, I might read an MC or a motorcycle club book. I might read a vampire book. I might read a sci-fi book. I might read a cowboy book, right? All within like a week. They're all completely different. You can't really compare a vampire and a cowboy or a sci-fi that much. But the one thing that's the same in all of those books, as an example, is a secret baby.
Okay.
So I just gave an example there. So I just read 5 different subgenres of romance, but I noticed a theme that all of them had a secret baby in them. So what am I recognizing that might be really hot right now? Secret baby. And so I write small town, steamy small town, or I write, put the hat back on, write cowboy. But I'm writing contemporary small town these days. And so what I'm probably going to write for book 1 would be a contemporary small town secret baby. And then I'm going to keep reading and reading. So if my time frame is 2 months to write and publish, so then in 2 months from now, I'm going to be reading, and I'll be reading all those genres, and I'm going to notice that hockey players are really hot right now.
Yeah.
So I guess the hero's cousin is a hockey player from Phoenix, whatever, and he's come to town, and he's a hockey player. So I add that in, and then the next one in 4 months from now, I'm going to read up and find something else that seems to be consistently hot, and then I'll write to that. But I'll write it under the purview of my bread and butter category, subcategory, turf.
So you're heavy on tropes. You write very heavy tropes. You know what trope you're going to write, and that's part of your marketing, obviously.
I do, because let's say so if you asked me, Vanessa, you just finished your book, which I did yesterday. I finished my book. Yay. You finished your book and you sent it to the editor. Can you give us a 1-sentence description of what that book's about? What am I going to tell you about it? I'm going to tell you the tropes.
Yeah.
It is a steamy, small town contemporary romance about a doctor who I have to think back because I'm just on the spot, who falls hard for the local first grade teacher who's mistaken for her twin with, I'm making something up now because I'm on the spot, but I need to throw all those tropes in.
Yeah.
And so when I talk to other authors about their book, and I'm like, okay, well, what's your book about? Tell me what the 3 main tropes are or themes of your story. And if they can't say what they are, then I'm like, okay, stop right there. Let's figure out what they are, because they may not have any.
Yeah.
If you're just contemporary, small town, steamy, and that's it, they're all going to be the same and ho-hum. But if you're like, oh, no, it's got a firefighter in it, and it's a mistaken identity book because the twin is mistaken for the other twin, and then he's actually a single father. Done. You've got single dad, mistaken identity, and firefighter. Done. Great. And then you can raise that toll booth thing and you can drive through and write that story. So working with your friends on, and if you're talking to them like, okay, well, tell me about your book. What are your 3, 4, 5, whatever number of tropes or themes you got? And if they can't say them to you, dig in and figure it out until they are like, oh, I do that, but I just don't realize it. That's usually the case. But if they don't, like, wait a second, then see. And then also do that with past books and like outline what they are.
Yeah.
And if they're the same if you've got a 3-book series and they're all the same, then our readers can be super excited because it's like, oh, that's book. Oh, this is the same thing as that book. This is the same thing as that book. You want to mix them up so that people are like, ooh, this one's got a firefighter. Or, And you might not love firefighters for whatever crazy, insane person you are, but you might not love them. But for one book, it might be okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And that's really good advice, actually.
Real good.
What are those 3 tropes? Because I think that sometimes the trap we fall into is we and I know I've done it, like you write the book and then you go,
because it's what you
"Oh,
love.
yeah," and then
But
but you
you're not-
can't actually break it down into those tropes. Like that's actually, so knowing them from the start and being able to kind of use that
Right.
is awesome.
And since I'm a pantser, I have nothing else to cling on to. I'm literally putting my hands up like little cat claws to cling on to, because I have no story. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I've got a man in small town America in Montana that's hot and alpha.
Yeah.
That's all I've got. I'm like, okay,
That's
I got
so
nothing.
true.
So I don't even know how to start writing the story.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
have to, as a pantser, identify these themes or tropes up front. Be like, oh, okay. So now I've got a firefighter, secret baby, single dad. Okay, well, that will help me pants my way through this story too. So for me, I have to have it, but I think if you can answer those before you start chapter 1 on your computer, then it will help a lot, because it'll give you something to make the readers excited about. It'll also make something for you to write your blurb about, and your promotions that you post in different places, because people are gonna be like, ooh, a secret, a mistaken identity twin. Ooh, that's gonna be so good. Readers just love that. And if you look these days on social media of any kind, you will see graphics everywhere that have the book cover in the middle with these little arrows, and it points to age gap, secret baby, mistaken identity. Those are all the things I'm talking about, and they're pointing them out to readers on social media. Why? Because readers are now buying books based off of those themes or tropes.
Yeah,
Readers always did. I mean, if I'm
They
assuming
always did. There has been no change
more
whatsoever.
prominent,
What I just shared with you is not anything new or remarkable, or even like, I didn't invent anything. I'm just stating that planning it from the start, incorporating it in the start, is a great way for you to know where you're going and to have the foundation, the brick built to give to your readers, so they're excited beforehand. You don't even have to have the story written. Okay, guys, the story is beginning. Chapter 1. This is a secret baby firefighter, mistaken identity twin story.
Yeah.
You don't even have to have a blurb, and they're like, oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
And then you have to cross your fingers that it really is. So I'm not sharing anything remotely remarkable, but what I'm offering is a concept as an author to make your books alluring to readers, give you something to write to, give you something to promote from at the beginning. It's all free to do, but you can build hype with that alone. And it's free. It's completely free. And when you see those graphics with that book in the middle and then the arrows, that's a great graphic to share for free to hook people to those books. Because if they love an age gap book and it says age gap on there, I guarantee, or almost guarantee, they're going to jump right on to checking it out.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting because you say, I'm not telling you anything new, but I feel like the layering that you're talking about is actually something I've never heard anyone talk about before. It's like here's my overarching, small town contemporary sort of sexy romance with men who fall hard. Say that's your overarching, and then you have the tropes under that, and it's like every book has the bigger stuff, but it's just going to be the next level down tropes that are what individualizes the books. And that's intriguing way to think of it.
And what's hilarious, amusing, and enjoyable about what you just said is that you did it this way. In my class, I have a whole section on this where it is in reverse. It is like a wedding cake or a cake. And so if you think of a multi-tiered cake, you're setting the base layer as your category of contemporary. For me, I would be contemporary. And the next layer is your heat level, because you don't want to mix up your heat level. You want it to be pretty consistent, or not pretty consistent, completely consistent. You don't want to put a, out there erotica book and then a sweet inspirational Hallmark movie type book on the next one, because readers are going to be like, what the heck happened? You want to find the heat level on your barometer, stick with that. And then on the next layer of the cake, maybe you add, for me, I would maybe add small town or cowboy, or it could be vampires, it could be paranormal, it could be whatever. And then on top of that, all the frosting and the yummy stuff that all the readers just love is the themes and tropes. And so awesome. A whole section of my class is devoted to this topic.
And that makes a lot of sense to me for it to be building up. I don't know why I went down, but
No, I think
because it's
you
that
had
foundation.
you had just an upside down. You had pineapple upside
Yeah,
down.
it's true. It's a Southern Hemisphere thing.
Because we're
This
upside
is
down.
upside down. I'm sure you guys.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because we're
Yeah.
hanging on to the bottom of the world.
The
Yeah,
good
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
The good stuff is at the bottom.
yeah, still going down.
I think you can agree, though, that everyone, if you get a cupcake, what does everyone love?
Yeah, it's always the top.
The frosting, right? I mean, the kids especially, but like, I mean, everybody, you want like that tower of frosting on top. Nobody cares about the cake.
No.
But
you
it
need
is
the cake.
strong. You need the cake.
To hold up the frosting.
Nobody's going to have a little cupcake with just the
cake is
frosting
the
in it. You need the
foundation.
cake.
Or icing, as we call it down here.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Icing, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's-
It tastes good, whatever it's called.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So that's interesting. So you're building in the marketing to actually into your product. So you've got the writing, you've got the tropes, you've written the book. So let's talk now about covers and blurbs. Do you, again, is that just built in now because you've got those tropes? You just write this blurb that says "secret baby, mistaken identity, buy it now," or is there something?
What do you think?
I think that.
I don't want to give my whole course away, but I'm just certainly sharing the whole section of it. But yes, we had just mentioned that if I said to any one of you, it's like, what book are you working on right now? And so I can put any one of you on the spot. So Cheryl, what book are you writing right now? And what are the tropes or themes?
I'm writing a paranormal cozy mystery with a baker who's a witch.
Okay. So so you have workplace romance.
There is actually.
Technically, right, and paranormal. And so you could add, so those are great options to have in there. And so you can use all of the words you just had in your blurb. Because why? You shared those specifically because they're the most important to you and to your story. And you want to include those in your blurb. Now, I'm not saying that's your entire blurb, but you could say something like, Mary is a cake baker and she has amazing skills she didn't know she had until she started mixing in these ingredients together. And all of a sudden, she's a paranormal witch. You know what I mean? So I have no idea what I'm talking about. Fair warning, I'm sure her story is nothing like what I just said. But using those keywords that you just mentioned can be a basis for your blurb because your readers will be hooked on those words.
Yeah.
And I think too, when you're getting to that stage too of even before you're writing the book, is looking around what's out there current and doing well in that genre, and you pick up the keywords that can go into your blurb but actually can help you write the story. Like for me, it's a midlife witch with a snarky cat, familiar,
right?
You know, and those are actually individual words that appeared in other people's titles or tropes or blurb. Yeah. So,
right, but you merge them in together into a great sentence that is catchy and alluring to me, and now I'm eager to read it because one, I'm hungry. I love icing and frosting, and having a witch or paranormal elements just makes and I love cozy mysteries. So combining all of that just makes it endearing and alluring to me. And especially with baked goods. I mean, especially if you talked about baked goods in your story.
Yeah.
You're done. You got it. I just want to share a quick story that's along the lines of, so I was doing research on Vanessa this morning and last night in preparation for our interview. And I looked up a book and I found one called Manhunt, Small Town Romance. And I bought it based on the blurb because I was like, this is awesome. And I, like, based on what you're just telling you've got billionaire boss in there, and I love the fact that you kind of it's funny, so clearly there's a bit of humor in your books, and then it's also you're telling this little bit of a story because so she accidentally emails her answers to a sex quiz to her billionaire boss.
Oh yes.
And I'm like, who is not going to buy this book, honestly? Like,
right.
Like,
right. Thank you for the promo on that. So under this thread that we were just talking about, I just pulled up my blurb for that, and I'm not going to read the blurb, but I'm going to scan through it, and I'm going to say aloud the themes or tropes or alluring hooks that are in there. So Billionaire Boss, as you mentioned, I say that she's a genius. She sneaks into the office, which means that it's a workplace romance. He's older, fiercely protective, and the possessive streak decides Montana. So we know that he's older, he's alpha and protective, and it happens in Montana. I have to put my glasses on, which is sad. And then we go into steamy small town romance, which is literally written there, nerdy heroine, and a lumberjack size billionaire. He's not just a billionaire, but he's lumberjack size.
Yeah.
So
lumberjack is amazingly evocative, right? Like you don't think of there's just one word, but it's a very specifically chosen word, right? Like that's
right, because he actually is very, very large. Like that's a problem for him, where he's just quite enormous. And so for me, it was not a problem, but I wanted to ensure that he came across as large, and lumberjack size, because it takes place in Montana, would be a good term to use to reference lumberjack. And people love lumberjack romance in general. So if you were trying to hook a lumberjack reader, then that would do it. So yes, I have to, if I'm going to talk the talk, I have to walk the walk, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
No, that's good. Can I just ask one more thing about this book, Shar, and then
go for it.
The other thing I note with this book is it's actually got the cover intrigues me, because it is not the normal man chest kind of cover. It's a very so can you talk a little bit about it and just like where it came from and why you're going along that line with those covers?
Right. As I mentioned, I took the cowboy hat off of my heroes, and so I'm aiming more for small town romance. And because of that, when you have a cowboy hat on, readers often want the hot cowboy on the cover, and it's great. But small town romance, they don't always want the hot hero on the cover. Oftentimes, it's a clinch cover of couples. Sometimes it's neither. I don't have any clinch cover. Well, I take that back. I don't have any clinch covers of a male and female, just one of each on a cover. I do have male, female, male, intentionally, because I want a reader to look at that cover and know it's a menage book. That was the point behind those clinch covers. But on just one male and one female stories, I always have one hot hero on the cover. So I chose not to do that on this new series because it's truly small town romance. And when I did my research and looked at what's selling in small town romance now, it is not hot man chests as much as others. Secondly, I wanted to try to hit readers on social media platforms like TikTok, etc., who are currently, as of speaking these words, craving not man chest covers.
Okay.
So I tried it. Yeah. And actually my last 3 series, this one, the co-written stories with Helen Hart, and the last one with Renee Rose, none of them have man chests on the covers. So I was trying to get away from man chests, 1, because I'm running out of them, and 2, because I'm trying to become trying to reach a different audience who focuses less on the man chests and more on image covers.
Yeah. And is it working? Like, have you that series?
It is. It has been well received. Also, I think this first book in this series, which is Manhunt that you referenced, I want, if you're familiar with 16 Candles, the movie back in the 80s.
Yeah.
So I wanted to write it using the premise of the heroine by accidentally dropping a sex quiz in the hands of the hero. And so if you're familiar with 16 Candles, it was back in the 80s, and it was during study hall, and she drops a piece of paper over her shoulder. So it was very 80s like, and we can't really do that these days. And also I wanted to take it out of high school and into grown-up land. And so I had it where she accidentally emailed it to her billionaire boss. So there's actually quite a bit of threads of 16 Candles in the story. If you love 16 Candles, then you'll recognize them. If you aren't familiar with 16 Candles at all, it doesn't make a bit of difference.
Yeah. Love that.
I love that movie back in the day.
I love that movie. Jake Ryan is my my first boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, Shah, did you have a
I was
question?
just a question when you started. So I discovered you through the Bridgewater series, and I'm not a massive historical reader, but I absolutely love those books. I'm just curious, what made you decide to stay with historical and contemporary on the same pen? Was that a conscious choice or purely practical?
Because since, as we mentioned on our conversation about the cake thing and talking about the layers, right? Since my main category was cowboy, my readers were okay jumping from historical to contemporary, because I was still hopefully their author they love to wrote cowboys. If I was known as the historical author, it would be harder for me to leap to contemporary, but it was a cowboy theme, and so they were able to transition well.
Gotcha.
Separately, I did a strategic shift by moving my readers intentionally from historical to cowboy by taking the Bridgewater historical series and then writing a modern day version of it in the same area of Montana. So the historical ones founded the community, founded the concept of a menage lifestyle. And then I made a series called Bridgewater County, which was contemporary. So it's the descendants of that town and of those people who were continuing on in modern times with that same concept of a menage lifestyle. So I was able to take those readers who loved the historical and bring them into contemporary because it was the same world just 130 some years later.
It was like gently warming the water towards something new rather than taking them from.
I brought them with me into the contemporary. I kept everything the same because it was menage to menage. The only difference is 130 years and electricity.
Yeah.
So a lot of the move came along, like it was quite a smooth transition, or did you lose some,
it
gain
came
others?
along great. It was well received because they loved the concept of that world in a different way. I think me as a reader, I would gobble that up too, because I want to keep going. Kind of like Yellowstone, they took my idea. Yellowstone in reverse. They went back in time.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And they went to 1885 and I think the 1920s. I have not seen any of the shows, but they intentionally went back in time because they needed a spin-off in reverse. And the readers the viewers loved the characters, and going back in time, they can see where the people they remembered in the future came from.
People do like that. Epilogues, prologues.
Do you think you could do the same with, say, contemporary and paranormal though? Because I feel like there's a different readership for paranormal maybe than
So that's it. You have like an excellent segue. So I did that with the Wolf Ranch series, where I made not just contemporary cowboys, I made them shifter cowboys with Renee Rose. And so the story behind this is that here in Colorado, I drove past randomly a subdivision called Wolf Ranch. And it was like a light bulb went off in my head. And I was like, oh my gosh, this has to be done. And I connected with Renee Rose because she writes paranormal. Yeah. And I said, I would love to write this series with you because you are known as the paranormal author and I'm known as the cowboy author. My readership isn't going to jump into paranormal that well by just me because I'm not known for paranormal, and vice versa. And so combining us together, my readers were content with the books because I wrote the cowboys and she was included in the paranormal, and vice versa, when in fact they read the stories and loved them, hopefully, as they were. And so it gave me buy-in for now being a shifter author. And for her, she could probably write some cowboys because her readers got buy-in that she was credible enough to do cowboy. So it works. So if you can think of creative ways to slide in something else like that, then yes. If you can nudge your readers over, coax them, then absolutely.
Yeah. That's good. Gosh, you're smart. I love this. The way that you've done like both the connecting the series and connecting that together is just really smart.
Right. And so the things I'm suggesting, the only things I've mentioned today in this talk that cost money was saying I was going to do a BookBub featured deal for a perma-free title, right? Everything else I've talked about is conceptual and doesn't cost a penny, but it's strategic in that I'm luring readers where I want them to go, and I'm choosing where I'm going before I go. Sometimes because I want to make sure I don't want to look back. I hate like, oh, I could have done it that way. That's, everything we all agree, that's so frustrating. Even going to the grocery store or something, you forget your grocery bags and you're like, oh, I forgot them. It happens all the time in life. And so when we're working in business and you're trying to be efficient and swift as possible, being strategic from the start and changing your concepts and your thoughts about how you write is free. But I always say it could also be very, very costly.
Yeah. Which actually leads me on to the Thrifty Tips for Authors course. So at what stage should an author be, or would be the ideal author stage, or could it be a mix of somebody that's got quite a big backlist versus maybe somebody that's literally just starting out?
Yes, it could be anyone from a new author to an established one. Established authors will have a backlist that they'll be able to work with on certain portions of the class that I talk about, writing to your backlist and using the backlist to grow your income. Obviously, new readers who don't have a large library of published books will read that and be able to use that going forward. However, newer authors with less books will have possible less rework or tweaking to do if there were changes to be made, and they can make changes with the concepts that they learn going forward. New authors are probably going to be like, whacking their head thinking like, oh, I could have, if I thought about this 3 books ago. It depends on where you are. Or it doesn't matter really where you are, you'll get a different perspective out of it. The nice feature of the class is I include a private Facebook group just for class attendees so that you can work and meet other authors who are learning the same material as you, so that when they're talking with each other about this cake concept I mentioned, they know what they're talking about. There's a base level of understanding on what they're coming from. So they could say, hey, what are your 3 tropes or themes for your book? They'll be able to pull them out because they understand what they're talking about. And also, as I mentioned, for those introverts of us who struggle to make new friends and new connections, this is a great environment to do so. And so those networking things were like, hey, I'm going to do a little group get together about promoting our books in this way. Do you want to join? Then there's a small, safe group of people that you can meet and grow from there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's very cool.
So I feel like we're coming towards the end of the interview, but I just have one more question. And that is, if someone's starting out, or someone's going, I need more thrifty tips in my life, what's one piece of advice that you just want to leave our listeners with? Like, what would you tell them if they were just needed a bit of help?
For very new authors, just keep writing books. Just read the genres and the categories that you want to write to, and see what's happening in those genres. If it turns out that you're reading them and don't like it, you probably aren't going to like writing it. So you need to want to really enjoy what you're writing. Read. That's definitely one of them. The other would be to take the time to think about what you are writing and want to write, and use it strategically about what is happening right now, and aim toward what readers are gobbling up in the moment. But I want to add to that, making sure that I'm not saying if you're a contemporary cowboy author that you start writing sci-fi. I'm just remember that Secret Baby I talked about. That would be an example.
That's the thing to remember, is it layers. I like that. That's awesome. Thank you so much for coming on and joining us today. It's been really awesome. I've been
Thank you for
fascinated by your answers. So you've obviously got the course coming up, and it's got the early bird pricing until the 7th of April 2023. If you're listening to that after this, after that date, then unfortunately you've missed the early bird, but hopefully people who gobble up the interviews straight away, they will still get an opportunity to sign up. So where can they find Thrifty Tips for Authors course?
Yeah, I made it super easy. You can go to thriftytipsforauthors.com.
Brilliant.
Perfect. And if someone else wants to read something by Vanessa Vale, where can they find you?
VanessaValeAuthor.com.
You and these URLs, you just
I know. Well, that's part of the class. So, and if anyone listening would like to join the Facebook group, you can just do a search on Facebook for Thrifty Tips for Authors.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you so much. And where can we be found, Shah?
And we can be found at spargirlspodcast.com. We are on Patreon. If you'd like to support us, we'd really appreciate that at patreon.com/spargirlspodcast.
Awesome.
Brilliant.
And thank you all for joining us for another episode of the Spar Girls podcast. We've had a great time here with Vanessa. Thank you so much. And that is the end of the interview for another week. But we'll be back again next week, same time, same place.
Bye.
Farewell.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.